Hello everyone and welcome to Cover 2 TV. I'm Steve Hort, this is Chris Pajak and we're going to be discussing the AFC North draft. Interesting one, Chris, four big teams, all I think really good drafts, and we can go one by one through them. I start with the division leaders as we've been doing. It was the Pittsburgh Steelers last year. They stayed where they were at pick 30 and they ended up taking TJ Watt.
I can't believe he was still on the board at pick 30, to be honest. This is a guy that obviously, look, everybody knows about his brother and all that type of stuff, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but this is a guy who's on all the time. You know, he's a guy who fits perfectly into that 3-4 scheme that the Steelers have used for years and years now, and, you know, as a linebacker getting into that scheme, this is brilliant. They've been looking for a partner for their other linebacker who should stop playing football. You know, he's been playing for so long now. This is a guy... James Harrison, he was... You know, is he in his 50s? Is he in his 60s? How old is James Harrison? He's been playing forever.
Yeah, he's been playing forever.
But he seems to have that second win since he's come back to the Steelers, hasn't he? And, you know, they need someone to be on the other side to him. And I think that they've got that guy in Watt.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I like Juju Smith-Schuster, second round pick. Now, he's a wide receiver. You might think, well, why do the Steelers need wide receivers?
It's a deep receiving core.
You've got loads of them. You can't rely on Martavis Bryant anymore. Yeah. It was funny, during the draft, someone tweeted saying, no, he's Bryant's replacement, and Bryant actually tweeted saying, no, he's not, he's Sammy Coach's replacement, which the Sammy Coach replied like, LOL. So a bit of beef there already between the two. In fact, the coach had to come on and tell him to, you know, settle down on Twitter. It was a bit mad. It's hard to say, Smith-Schuster, good hands. He's a bit Antoine Bolden-ish, I think, and I think that's a really good pick.
He's a big body guy who can go and win his one-on-ones, and that's what the Steelers need.
Also, he's a very good blocker, and I think they're moving towards the run game with Le'Veon Bell. Obviously, I'm going to talk about James Conner in a minute. Yeah. They're going to be very much run heavy. He's a really good blocker, so he might find himself on the field more because he will offer more in that, you know, in that regard for Le'Veon Bell. And let's talk James Conner then. It's a great story.
It is.
You know, he survives cancer. He goes to college in Pittsburgh. He's picked up by the Steelers. It's like hopefully it all works out well for him, and he's 100% fit and it's going to work. It's almost something out of a movie, you know, hometown, college, battles cancer and gets drafted by the team.
Well, this is the thing, and look, a lot is drilled into these athletes and these picks before the draft on what type of a person they are. But for me, looking at other sports, and look, I'm a massive football fan, soccer fan as well. Look, whenever Liverpool, the soccer team, have had players who have been from Liverpool, they seem to understand it and they seem to give that little bit more. And I think we're going to see that out of Conor this season. And now he might take the ball a few times on third down. Oh yeah. You know, he'll be in rotation for Le'Veon Bell this season, and you know he can definitely do a job just by running between the tackles. You know, hitting those run lanes very, very quickly. Not as patient a runner as Le'Veon Bell, but who is? Yeah. But he'll definitely be doing a job this season. Yeah, and
Lev Bell got the ball too much last year, and it's no surprise he was hurt in the playoffs. I think he got the ball far too much. They just relied on him, and hopefully they do use Conor. Finally, on the Steelers, let's talk Joshua Dobbs. Again, people thought he might go in the second round. He's the quarterback from Tennessee. He falls to the fourth. I think the Steelers needed another backup. I don't think Landry Jones was the man. I don't think he was good enough. There was talk that Josh Dobbs might even go somewhere to be a starter. Well, obviously that's not the case. But he'll be a very good backup to Ben, who gets hurt almost every season.
Look, yeah, because of the way that he plays football. Yeah. You know, he hangs in the pocket for far too long, in my opinion, although it's actually when he's at his best as well. Yeah. Sometimes when you see Ben Roethlisberger hanging in there and making throws that only Ben Roethlisberger can make. But there's got to be concerns long term. We talked last week and I mentioned it's a succession business. Now, it might not be now, it might not be next year, it might be the year after or something, but at some point the Pittsburgh Steelers, much like the New York Giants, have to start thinking about the future of their football team, and this says to me that they're already doing that, and it's good to think about it now rather than when it's too late in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, absolutely. Dak Prescott's shown the model, hasn't he? If you can do it, you might get away with it. Worst case is you've got a decent backup for a few years and you can address that again. Okay, let's move on then. Next team on our agenda there, the Baltimore Ravens.
Big on defence. I like that from the Ravens, Steve.
They're a defensive team. Ozzie Newsome must have been laughing he loves his Alabama players. At 60,
2 or 4 of his defensive picks for Alabama.
He loves every year. He picks Alabama players. Marlon Humphrey falls to him at 16. He must have been delighted because he gets his cornerback and he happens to get him from the college that he loves getting his players for. And I was quite surprised he didn't go off more offensively on this draft, I must be honest, because the offense is pretty poor, but it's Ravens to go defense is what they've built on.
Look, that's what it is, and something from the Ravens and the Steelers, they're built on this. Their entire franchise is built on these defensive guys, and For me, there's nothing wrong with sticking to your core values, and that's what Ozzie Newsome's done at the Ravens this season. First 4 picks, all defensive players, you know, all can make a difference this season. Again, I've talked about it before, I talked about it on the last show. If you're getting people who can play this season, that's the sign of a good draft for me. And I'm really excited by this Ravens draft class.
Yeah, Humphrey was really good. Tyus Bowser, I like, second round pick. He'll be very good in their sub packages, big guy.
Again, these guys, Williams and him, fit into the 3-4.
Yeah,
they fit in perfectly.
Tyus Bowser will be, I think he'll be a chess piece, a bit like, say, Hassan Reddick, but not as good second round. I say, third round then, obviously got Chris Wormley, and then he went and got Tim Williams. Talent-wise, I think Tim Williams is a first round pick. Talk is there's just off-field issues and stuff like that, maybe injury concern, I don't know. But if he's on his game, he's a value pick at that position. The Ravens seem to be a strong organisation who are happy to go with, you know, happy to take people with character concerns and get them into a strong locker room. And I think if Tim Williams goes there and is able to, you know, the locker room looks after him and keeps him in line, I think that's an unbelievable value, because he really, really will. I wouldn't be surprised if he played as well as he can, 10-sack guy. And to get that, you know, at the middle of round 3, it's just unbelievable.
Well, that's it. You look at Williams, you look at the Bowser pick and stuff, and you're starting to think, is this an organisation that's planning for the departure of Terrell Suggs?
Yeah, well,
because that's the natural replacement for it. And again, much like the Steelers, they're planning for the future of that defence. That defence has been the heart of this side since Ray Lewis was drafted. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it needs to continue. Terrell Suggs took over from that. Ed Reed was there during the Ray Lewis years as well. They need to start planning about the future, much in the same way that the Steelers do with Harrison.
Yeah.
You know, I joked about it before, but they've got to start thinking of the future of their franchise, and defence is their future, and these two guys could well be it.
And also, I say early in the third round, Chris Wormley from Michigan. So obviously, Mr. Harbaugh, you know, his brother works there. So Jim and John will know what they're talking. They'll have had the chat about this guy, and he'll know everything about him. And if his brother's recommended him, his brother's not going to sell him down the river.
Although he's probably still a bit miffed after the Super Bowl.
I mean, he's probably a bit pissed off after the Super Bowl, yeah. But you can imagine him. There's not going to be nothing that they don't know. He's going to know everything about him. I mean, having friends in high places, or brothers in high places, as this one was. Next up then, the Cincinnati Bengals. A lot to talk about in their draft.
Yeah, interesting class.
Let's start at round 1 first before we get to the elephant in the room. I was really surprised they went wide receiver at 9. I understand why they did it, because
they needed speed.
They needed something. Obviously, they lost receivers 2 years ago. You know, they lost Sanu and Jones, and it did look a bit threadbare at times with Andy Dalton. I was really shocked that at 9 they took John Ross. Speedster, you know, absolute. You know, the medical issues are there. You know, obviously with the hamstrings and stuff. But if Andy Dalton can be protected, which I think is a worry anyway, I do think that's an issue. John Ross is an explosive player. And at worst case, you can't double team him and AJ Green, so he's going to see a lot of single coverage, which, you know, get the ball in his hands and he is lightning fast.
That's it. You can't teach speed, can you? And we know he's done a lot of work with Deshaun Jackson off season, and you know, met up with him over the last few years, and they're good pals off it. And Deshaun Jackson rates him as a very, 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 very good prospect. And look, if there's one thing Deshaun Jackson knows, he knows how to be an explosive weapon on offense. And if John Ross is half as good as Deshaun Jackson's been, then it'll still work out to be a good pick, because it's not very often you can get explosive guys like him into your side. Now, I think maybe at 9 it's a little bit too much of a reach, to be honest, but I can definitely understand the pick, because, as I say, they needed that speed and they needed that depth.
Yeah, hopefully he can stay fit. Injuries are the issue with him. Right, let's talk Joe Mixon. Anyone who doesn't know, very quickly, and I imagine you do, when Joe Mixon was 18, he knocked out a girl. It was on video, it went all over the internet, it's been there to see. He punched the girl, she hit her head on a table, and she was knocked out. It was awful. Absolutely horrendous acting.
You can't condone it in any way, shape or form. No, we're not here to do that.
No, absolutely not. And Adam Schefter said only 4 teams had him on the board. I'm not surprised, Chris, that the Bengals were one of them, because they're known to take guys with character issues. They've done it in the past. They've got a few on their team now. Pac-Man Jones, Montez Perfect. Different issues. It's not domestic violence. However, the kid's 18. He's the crime's what is done. That's done. We know, morally speaking, I wouldn't want my team to have him. Yeah. Others would. That's irrelevant. We're not here to talk about that. As a pure football player, he is an amazing football. I've picked 16, in the second round, so pick 48. They've got probably the best running back, second best back in the draft, and
I think
he's amazing on the field.
He's a top 3 running back in that.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And Jeremy Hill and Gio Bernard were iffy-ish last year. Joe Mixon's going to be coming in, and he's going to take that job at some stage. it's a scary division for running backs now. You know, if you include Lev Bell as well, I think Joe Mixon could very well have David Johnson, Le'Veon Bell type production. It's just whether you're happy with it morally.
I think I mean, I've been watching a lot of the NFL Network over the last week and stuff, and I've seen a few interviews with him, and he does seem to be a very grounded individual. Now, the concerns from my point, looking from the outside, is this just a media mask?
Yeah.
Is this what this guy is? How do we really know who the real Joe Mixon is? Has he grown up? Has he passed all of that crap? Or is he the same guy and he's putting on a facade? Now, the Bengals will have done their research, but as you say, they're comfortable taking those kind of guys, and ultimately, based just on football and ability, it's a value pick, and a very good value pick, but you don't just base your picks on football and ability, and I wonder, you know, whether this is going to bite them on the arse at some point down the line.
And I say, any Bengals fans, if you're watching, just let us know how you feel about it. You know, Joe Mixon's going to be on your team next year. Just, again, we'd like to know your thoughts on that. Football player, fantastic. It's just a moral issue, isn't it? Very quickly, kicker in round 5. I love when a kicker gets drafted.
First one of the draft,
yeah,
first specialist position of the draft.
They needed one. Last year, their kicking game was absolutely awful, so, you know, yay, kickers.
And just before we leave the Bengals, I've got the two that I really like here. Jordan Willis, defensive end, bit of a pass rusher and stuff. Carl Lawson as well. I like the fact that they've doubled down on this. Yeah. You know, they've not given a lot, had to give a lot away. But if one of those works out, it seems to me like a good strategy. Yep. You know, doubling down, hoping that 1 out of 2 at that end of the draft works out. They could have one very, very good player, hopefully 2 good players.
Yeah, I like Jordan Willis myself. I think he's a good player, and he's versatility. The modern NFL, versatility is key. A team who I think had a really, really good draft. Yeah. It was the Cleveland Browns. They didn't take the quarterback, as the rumours were suggesting at one. Absolutely, they took Myles Garrett, and I mean, everything's been said about Myles Garrett. It's an absolute slam dunk pick, unbelievable. They then traded away their 12th pick, which some thought they might go quarterback there, and they chose not to. They give that away to the Houston Texans and got their first round pick next year. The Browns really want Houston to be bad this year, by the way, don't they? Because they got their first and their second next year. And they, at 25 then, Chris, they took Jabril Peppers. Again, I don't know where Jabril Peppers plays. I really don't know what he's going to do. But as an athlete and as a guy, he just looks like a jack in the box. And like, for a team that he looks like they're just a modern team who are just trying to get speed. And I don't know if you agree. I think Jabril Peppers just looks like a guy who they're just going to plug and play a little chess piece, and he might even play some offense.
Well, the interesting thing for me is that the Peppers pick and the I don't know how to pronounce it.
David Njoku.
And they're really good because it looks to me like Cleveland want athleticism on this side.
Yes.
And that's the real key from everything that they've done in this draft, is that they want these big athletic footballers, and you know it's a good move for the Browns. And I think they've had a really good draft, more so from the fact that they've had a good draft now, but they've protected the future as well. And, you know, they've not gone all in on that quarterback. Yeah. You know, they obviously pick up a quarterback later on in the round, and I'm sure we're going to come on to that. I feel like they've finally realised that now isn't our year, but in a few years' time it could be.
Absolutely. And David Njoku, I was surprised he was there at 29. Obviously, the Browns really liked him because he traded up with my Green Bay Packers to take him. I wouldn't have minded if the Packers took him. I think he was that good. 20, come inline blocker. I was surprised that Evan Ingram went ahead of him, for example, to the Giants. But he's a modern tight end again. Pass catching grade, super athlete, absolute super athlete. 6'4", 246, massive fella. Blocks, catches everything. And I say he's 20. His future's ahead of him. He was great in college at University of Miami. Sorry, he was excellent, and he's 20. There's so much development. He's going to be a star. I really do think so. You mentioned quarterback then.
Deshaun Kaiser.
He was my favourite quarterback in the draft, I'll be honest. He's obviously fell to 52, so obviously a lot of GMs and teams felt otherwise. His 2015 tape was excellent. His tape from the Texas game last year, I recommend you go and watch it. It was the best quarterback tape you'll see in the draft. But then he did have a poor season. A losing record never helps a quarterback. But he goes in there now. So in the quarterback room, they've got Cody Kessler, they've got Brock Osweiler for now, they've got Deshaun Kaiser. Of all the guys who were drafted, I think the top 4 quarterbacks, he's probably got the most chance of starting day one. Yeah. Big arm, which you need in that division, obviously cold weather and stuff. The inaccuracy is going to hurt him, but I like the fact that he doesn't have to play. He might sit, he might not, but I think he was a first round talent. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, look, I've read many draft boards and looked at many people's draft boards and mock drafts, and you know it seems to be a little bit split on him, to be honest with you. But it just seems like a very, very canny pick from the Cleveland Browns, because they could have gone quarterback very early. They've done it before. They've done it how many years on the bounce or whatever now, you know, and it's been ridiculous. But what they've done is they've taken a look at the Cowboys, what they did last season with Dak Prescott, and they've taken a guy who slipped down other people's draft boards, and they've got real value out of that pick and a real potential top draw quarterback in it as well.
When you haven't got a quarterback, I'm firmly of the belief that you take one every year. Don't have to be your first round pick, but it could be your second, your third, your fourth. Take one and see what it is. Until you find them. And if it doesn't work out for Deshaun Kaiser, the Browns have lost a second round pick, and they've got hundreds of picks.
And they've not scuppered the chances for next year and next year and next year.
And they didn't lose Myles Garrett, and they didn't lose Jabril Peppers and David Njoku, who they wanted. They got a guy out of 2 in the second round, so he was a good value pick, and yeah, I think it was an excellent decision to take him. So that's that then, Chris. So we've been ending these shows, and we're going to be ending these shows just as a general chat. Whose draft did you like the best? Who do you think had an absolute stormer, and is there anything you'd maybe want?
I like Ozzie Newsome's draft. Okay. I really like that. I just like the fact that they've gone back to basics, they've gone back to who they are, and they've got the players in that can make a difference now in that defensive scheme and stuff. So for me, that's been a really good draft. But you know what? Ultimately, I think I've got to give it to the Cleveland Browns in this case. And you know, I've never said that before, Steve. I've never said they've been good.
No,
you know what I mean?
No,
they've been terrible for years, and it looks like they've made a decision that they want to get this franchise back to where the heights of what it used to be. You know, a massive franchise in American sport, and you know they've been dormant now for years and years and years, and it looks like they've taken a bit of a long-term approach to this now, and hopefully, fingers crossed, because I don't want to see the Browns be terrible. I want to see them go and compete, because that. If the Browns can get back to playing competitive football, that's a top division.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And you want to see, and look, if they can get back, 4 brilliant teams could potentially be fighting it out every year, and I want to see that.
Talent-wise, Bengals again. I think getting Ross and Mixon transforms that offense into something special. I think it's really good. And with you on the Browns, so they got 3 first-round players. They got the second-round quarterback, and they've got a first-round pick next year. It's for a team that's building who are absolutely terrible. I'm into the analytics side. I think it's a good way of doing it. It's something different. Everything else they've tried didn't work. You might as well be different. They got 3 absolute stud athletes. Worst case is that you might not get tons of technique, or they might not be the most polished players, but they're athletes, and they will help the Cleveland Browns. That defense is looking scary now. You got Myles Garrett there now. Jamie Collins is there. You add Jabril Peppers. Joe Hayden's still there. It's going to be who knows how it's going to be really good. It's going to be a decent team.
Even if the defense isn't good, they can win individual battles.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Myles Garrett, he's going to be a star. We haven't talked about him much. He's going to be an absolute star. And if Deshaun Kaiser pans out, that could be one of the best 4 picks you've ever seen. We've said this before with the Browns. We've been wrong before. You know, plenty of times we've seen Brandon Weeden, we've seen Brady Quinn, we've seen Johnny Manziel, we've seen Justin Gilbert. It's all gone wrong, and really, really hope for Cleveland's sake. And we're going to see them live in London this year. We're going to see the Browns. Me and Chris are going to be in person. I really hope they're good. You hope they're not so good because you want them to lose, but I really hope they're good. I say that we're going to wrap it up there.
Does it change the division any though, Steve?
Steelers,
Ravens, Bengals, Browns. This season, what's the order right now?
Steelers, Bengals, Ravens, Browns.
Okay, I'm going to stick with what it is.
Same as.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think the Joe Mixon thing is going to be a worldie. I think it's going to be David Johnson, like I say, guy, player, excellent. Let us know what you think, guys. Anyway, at home, comments below. Make sure you tell us which picks you liked, which you didn't like. Like I say, Bengals fans, let us know your thoughts on Joe Mixon. After all that, give the video big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go and follow us on Twitter, on Facebook. Tell your mates, tell everyone about this channel. Hopefully it grows and grows and grows. And we'll be back soon with another one of these draft recaps. Until then, we'll see you soon.